Girls just having fun. And today we're making one of my favorite foods. I have our almighty potato here. When people went on this low carb, carbs are bad for you thing, potatoes, oh, this is a carb, especially white potatoes. They don't have any nutrients. You shouldn't be eating them. They're just carbs. Let's get going making our Thai curry vegetables. This is an amazing lunch and really easy. You can make your sauce in advance. You can. Mm, 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 mm. I wish I could share it with you all. Girls just having fun. And today we're making one of my favorite foods. I have our almighty potato here. And I got to say, the potato gets a bad rap. It's been villainized and it should not be villainized. Everybody, when people went on this low carb, carbs are bad for you thing, potatoes, oh, this is a carb, especially white potatoes. They don't have any nutrients. You shouldn't be eating them. They're just carbs. And this is so far from the truth. It is potatoes actually are one of the most nutrient dense foods. And I'm going to tell you my story. You may have already heard about Andrew Spudfit Taylor, but if you have not, Andrew is, I think he's in Australia, but he had a lot of issues with his weight and his mental health, and to the point where he was ready to take his own life. He was really desperate. And he decided, because he couldn't manage his meals and his food very well, he decided he was going to just find one food and one food only to eat for a whole year. And so he did all sorts of research. And I will say he was in medically supervised, and he found this potato as his food to eat. This is what he ate for one whole year. Now, there are tons of varieties of potatoes. This is a russet potato. There's white potatoes, red potatoes, yellow potatoes, Japanese sweet potatoes, regular sweet potatoes. There are so many different kinds of potatoes, and they're all good. They're all good. They're all different, but we can eat them all. And so in this recipe today, we're making a Thai coconut curry potato, which is just another way to dress up the potato to make it a little fun and a little interesting. And the other thing that Andrew said when he was eating potatoes for one year is that it was easy. You could always go to a restaurant if he was traveling or something. He could always find somewhere that would have baked potatoes, and he would just have baked potatoes. When he was in a hotel, he'd order baked potatoes from the restaurant and maybe get them delivered or pick them up. And the end of the story, Andrew did do his mono diet for a whole year. He turned his mental health around. He lost, I think he was over 300 pounds. He lost all the weight that he was looking to lose that had been plaguing him for so long. And he started journaling his story on Instagram, I think, just to journal his story, to get his story out. He wasn't there to do anything. And I think his brother sent it to somebody, and his story just blew up on Instagram. And so if you can look him up, he's got a website, and he is all about the potato. Now, it's more than a year later. I don't think he just eats potatoes anymore, but I think it just goes to show you that this little potato that has been villainized isn't as bad as people think it is. So let's get going making our Thai curry vegetables. All right. Or sorry, potatoes. All right. So we're going to add a sauce that we're making with it. I'm going to put you guys over here so I can do my thing. We have a sauce that we're making with our potato. I've washed this potato and I would put it in the oven. and bake it. So I bake my potatoes at 350 for probably an hour and a half, because 350 is a lower temperature, but 350 is the ideal to get the best of the nutrients. And I'm going to show you a technique for cooking and steaming your vegetables that is one of the best for keeping the nutrients in your vegetables. And so 350, put your potatoes in the oven. Here we go. I'm just doing one for me, but you can put as many as you want. One of the other things, hey, everybody's busy these days. So if you're busy and you don't have time, or you're going to forget, put a bunch of potatoes in the oven and bake them. And then later you can put them in the fridge, and later just take out what you need for your meal, and you can heat that up in the oven. Or I don't have a microwave, so I do everything in the oven. So we're going to make a sauce, and we're also going to do some veggies to go on that. So I've got my veggies here. I have a fairly heavy pot with a lid on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called the long and low method of cooking. So I've got this pot. I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the bottom. Not much, just a little. And then I'm going to add my veggies. So what I've got here, you could add other veggies, like whatever you want. I have some broccoli florets. I cut up some carrots and some peppers. I've got some peppers and some red onion. And I'm just going to dump that all in there. And then I don't have fresh peas, but I like peas. So I've got frozen peas. I'm going to add them here. I think in my recipe, I said you could put them in with the sauce, but I'm lazy. I'm just going to put them in here and let them, they're frozen. So I'm going to put this on the stove on high, and I'm going to keep it on high until the lid is hot to touch. Then I'm going to turn it down to the lowest temperature. I got to watch this closely for the first minute or so. So let me put that on high. Now, if you have, my oven is an electric oven, so I don't have this problem. But if you have a gas stove, the low temperature is not low enough. It's a kind of, sometimes can be higher. You might need to have a deflector plate, just a plate that you put on, it's like a metal plate, to help reduce the heat a little bit from the gas stove. But my oven, my stove here, it's electric. When I put it on low, I got to put it between, my first number is low, and then it goes to 2. Kind of between 1 and 2 really works well for me. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to watch it, because I have done this before where I forgot, and it gets to a boiling point on high. There's not a lot of water in it, and it burns pretty fast. So I'm just watching it. And once you put the lid on, you don't take the lid off. And I think about 15 to 20 minutes is more than enough for the veggies we have here. You can play with that, but you want to keep the steam in the pot. You don't want to take the lid off and release all the steam, because that's really how it's working, is through steam. All right. It's getting there. It's getting there. In the meantime, I'm trying not to forget about that. Usually what I do is I put a timer on for a minute or two so that I don't forget. I've got my blender. This is my Vitamix here that I'm going to just blend up my sauce in here. Let me just make sure this is good first before we start blending the sauce. All right, so the lid is getting hot to touch. It's almost there. But once it gets hot to touch, I'm going to turn it down. All right. Pretty much there. All right, it's almost to the point where it's going to start steaming off the side. So I've turned it down. I'm just going to leave it for 15 minutes. I'm going to put my timer on so I don't forget. And let's make our sauce. So for our sauce, I'm doing a double recipe. You can do the single recipe is half a cup of cashews, but I'm doing double because I want to use up the coconut milk that I have. So this is, I've soaked these, I put them on to soak in the morning. So it's been about 4 hours that they've soaked, and I rinsed them off. So there's two reasons why we're soaking our cashews. One is to soften them up, and you will see, I did put this in the recipe. If you forget to soak your cashews, one of the time tricks to get it soaked quickly is to put it in hot water for about 15 to 20 minutes. And that'll soften them up, because otherwise it's really grainy and your sauce will be very grainy. But once you soften them for about 3 to 4 hours, it's good. The other reason why you're doing it, I'll just dump them in here, is so that you remove the enzyme inhibitors. So nuts and seeds all have enzyme inhibitors on them. And when you soak them, you're removing those enzyme inhibitors. And if you really want to do the healthiest way, you would soak all your nuts when you bring them in the house, and then get the enzyme inhibitors off, and then reconstitute them so that they're back to being crunchy and not waterlogged. I have a dehydrator, so I would put them in my dehydrator for probably about 8 hours, but you can lay them on a tray, maybe with a tea towel underneath them or a kitchen towel, and let them just air dry. And then you can put them away to store your nuts. They should store in the fridge or the freezer, because they do go rancid quickly, because there's lots of beautiful essential fatty omega-3 fatty acids in our nuts. Okay, so I've got my nuts, I've soaked and rinsed them. I'm going to add some coconut milk here. So I hope that's enough. It's about half a cup for one. Then I'm going to add in some lime juice, not lemon juice, but lime juice. And you can do like 1 to 2 tablespoons, and you can feel out how much you want, but really you need the acid to freshen and brighten it up. It's good. And I'm going to add a little bit. I got my garlic here. So I have some garlic that I did 1 clove of garlic that I've cut up, and I cut it up probably about 20 minutes ago. For your garlic, it's best to cut it ahead of time and let it sit for at least 10 minutes before you incorporate it into any food. And that releases the enzymes so that you can get all of the medicinal benefits of the garlic. And the garlic is a superfood. I'm gonna add a little bit of red onion, not too much. We have some chopped up red onion. We keep this in our house, in our fridge all the time, chopped up onions, so that we can use it as a garnish on things. So I'm using a little bit of that. And then I'm just going to add some spices. So if you have ginger, fresh ginger, you can put in the fresh ginger. I do not today. I had actually asked my daughter if she could pick some up. And she said, yeah, I can bring it after I'm finished my second class, which is after our class. So I'm just going to use some powdered ginger, about a teaspoon, I would say, of powdered ginger. Ideally, if you have fresh, that's always better, but I do not today. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of curry powder. So I just want to, in my culture where I grew up, curry powder was not in the foods that we eat. And it was something that we got introduced to by my mom when we were a little bit older, with a curry cream cauliflower recipe. It was so delicious. And we just added enough to give it a nice hint of flavor, not too strong. So if you're not used to curries, go light on it and just get used to it, because it is something, I think, if it's not in your vernacular and you're cooking now, you want to go try it, but just go lightly with it. So I added a half a teaspoon. You could add up to a teaspoon. It depends how much you like curry. But even just, it really can add a beautiful flavor profile to your foods but again, go easy if you're not used to it. Right, and that's it. I did have some veggies that I've already cooked here. I steamed some veggies in advance. And so one of the benefits, I have a fork here, is sometimes you'll have a little bit of liquid left over. I don't have any in this one, but sometimes you'll have little liquid left over, and you can add the liquid to your sauce here if you have a little bit of liquid left. And that way you get all of the benefits of the nutrients. I'm just going to put the lid on and blend this up. Here we go. All right, it should be smooth now. When I first got my Vitamix, I was so afraid to put it on high. And I was definitely not doing that, but I learned that it's a great way to. Oh, that's so good. Just a nice hint of the curry. And again, you can add a little bit more if you'd like. So now you could just do this like this. You don't have to heat it up, but you can also put it in your saucepan, heat it up. Just put it in the saucepan. It's pretty thick, but just put it on low and heat it up, and then you've got it heated. And you can add some of your add your veggies to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my steamed veggies that I have here, going to add some of this here, the sauce. And here's what I like and what I advocate. Some people like sauces. Some people are not crazy about sauces. I happen to be someone who likes sauces. And I grew up looking at, the calories, you got to count the calories. And sauces happen to usually have a lot of calories. All of the ingredients in here are whole food, plant-based, great nutrition. If you want more sauce, take more sauce. Don't be afraid to skimp on the sauce if you like the sauce. That's my words of advice. So I'm gonna go to my potato. I love my potato. Woohoo. So this is a bake. So you bake it until it's nice and soft, yummy. And now this one is beautifully hot. Can you see the steam rising? I don't know. It's rising. Oh,
Yes, we see the steam, Debbie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It would probably work with the sweet potato too,
Can you
right?
tell I love potatoes? Come on.
Yes.
Oh my God. And by the way, I advocate you have potatoes every day, all day.
Why?
As many potatoes as you want, okay?
I like potatoes in the air fryer.
Aha. Yeah.
Those are so good. I love
All right.
potatoes.
So I just stirred around. I've got my veggies here. I'm just going to add them on to my potato. Dun, da, 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 da. This potato is a big one. I'm looking forward to lunch today. I'm going to add a little bit more sauce because, of course, I like sauce. Let me add more so I can get all this beautiful sauce. Yeah. Okay. And again, do it to your liking. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of green onion. And of course, in Thai cooking, I think cilantro is very popular. So you can add some cilantro. I know there are lots of people who do not like cilantro. My daughter is one of those people. Apparently, there's a gene that if you have it, the cilantro tastes like soap to you, according to what I heard. So if it's something that you don't like, don't use it. For sure, you could add parsley instead. That's a great option to get some herbs and some extra nutrition. But I'm going to add just a little bit of cilantro here. I had it on the stove here and it's wilted a little bit. It was fresh when I started. And yeah, here it is. So voila, a great way to have a potato. Here is lunch. You could add a nice little salad to it with a lemon vinaigrette. And this is an amazing lunch and really easy. You can make your sauce in advance. You can just have your veggies ready to go. You could just, and like I said, you can bake potatoes in advance, pop them in the oven, and you have an amazing potato for yourself. All right. And I wanted to mention the cilantro is a really amazing herb that binds to, and chelates they call it, or binds to metals. So this is a great way for getting rid of heavy metals out of your body is cilantro. All of these things have amazing health benefits. And of course, I made one yesterday and I took a picture and it looked like I had a pita pocket full of stuff. Oh, man. So this is again a way that you can, and oh, by the way, eat the skins of your potatoes, wash them, and the skins have so much nutrients in them. So don't be afraid to eat the skins. I recommend you do. I wish I could share it with you all. All right, I'm bringing you up closer. Oh, all right. Let me see if there was any questions as I take my bite. All right. Potatoes are a great lunch. Oh, Gloria, we're going to miss you in September, but I hope you're going somewhere nice.
Yeah, we're going down east. Yeah, going down east to 3 provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI.
Oh, you're doing the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
But
beautiful.
I'm going to miss my Fridays in the kitchen for sure. I love them.
We're going to miss you for sure. I don't know if anybody has any questions for me. I'm just going to pop the recipe into the chat here in a second. All right. I'm just getting it. I switched the pages earlier, so it's got to pop it up again. And whoops. There we go. I just putting the link in the chat right now for the potatoes that you can make and eat. Good thing I put that on. I can turn off my other veggies before they go too much. Yes. All right. Okay. I don't see any questions on that note. Maybe I should put girls just want to have fun back on.
Do you want to do it on, can you do it on I guess you can't do it on a yam, right?
On what?
On a sweet potato too.
Yes, you could. You can use a sweet potato. Absolutely. I was thinking I need to get some Japanese sweet potatoes and try it on that. But yeah, whatever potato you want. I just happen to have russet potatoes here, but experiment on whatever potatoes you want. If you like sweet potatoes, go for that. That's a good point, Helene. I'm glad you brought that up. All right. Okay, everyone, we'll just go back to girls just want to have fun. Thank you for joining today.
Yes, thank you.
Love you all.